All right, we're doing a little bit of a field trip today. So we do, lots of trail work, the trail reports, all the stuff that you normally see. Kids are waving in the background there. All the stuff that you normally see that we do at CORE. But the main mission, when we founded CORE, was to be motorized advocacy group. And so to try and, like our name and the hashtags and everything imply, keep trails open and whatever it takes. And sometimes that is a lot of paperwork. That's a lot of man hours, doing things through travel management and working with agencies to try and keep a road or a trail open. So today we're on Middle Fork. Now this is outside of Poncha Springs. So we were on Highway 50 west of Poncha Springs going up Monarch Pass. National Forest Service Road 230 is what we're on. Like I said, it's just known by the locals as Middle Fork because the South Arkansas comes out of Monarch Pass here. So you have North Fork, which goes up to North Fork Reservoir. The road goes above that to Billings Lake, prior to the West Tunnel, that whole area. That's the North Fork of the South Arkansas. Now the drainage we're going to go up today is the Middle Fork of the South Arkansas. And then you also have Boss Reservoir above us. And then the main fork of the South Arkansas is just the drainage that comes out of, parallels the road there, Monarch Pass itself. So we're going to go up here and look because Middle Fork is really cool, but there are two side roads up here that are very important, that are still open. And I'm going to show you the process of what happened to keep them open, why they're open, and what we ultimately did to win an objection in the Pike and San Isabel National Forest Travel Management Process to keep them open. So check it out. We'll go up there. We're going to look at some stuff. We'll talk about a bunch of things. It's a really cool area to wheel. It's kind of a hidden gem. I mean, it's not very popular. It's not really well known. So we're going to go check it out. So this is the end of 230. It's, nothing special as far as a four-wheel drive road. Any stock high clearance 4x4 vehicle could get all the way here to the end of the road. You go where the Continental Divide Trail comes in, Colorado Trail together here in the parking area. And then behind us is Chalk Creek Pass. Now that we're on the other side of Hancock. So if you go up to Hancock Lake above St. Elmo, that will be the west side of Chalk Creek Pass, and now we're on the east side of Chalk Creek Pass. So the trail goes up and over the top there above Lower, you can pass by Lower and then upper Hancock Lake and then up over the saddle there to Chalk Creek Pass. So again, it's not like a destination or a super highly traveled area. You usually don't find side-by-sides or ATVs over here because there's just a couple out and back trails that don't loop in and connect to anything. So if you're trying to ride a lot of miles and a lot of time from one point all the way around back to that same point, this isn't it. So it's pretty quiet back here in terms of vehicle traffic. Obviously there's a lot of hiking traffic because of the two National Scenic Trails that run through here, and we're going to talk about those a little bit today on these other two routes. They're down the way. So we're on the main route of 230, and then we have 230.B and 230.C. 230.C is Hoffman Park, and that one's pretty interesting, so we'll go look at that one.
It's another crazy weekend here in Nashville, Tennessee. We have the Music City Grand Prix in town, so that means a lot of road closures and a lot of noise. But hey, it's good for the city, and we have fans in from all over the world. So enjoy Nashville, Tennessee. You're welcome to visit anytime. Just don't.
So down below in the bottom, we turned up to head on 230.C. This is known as Hoffman Park. And so we're right here at the end of the motorized route. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of old mining ruins and collapsed cabins. We passed several on the way up that were, somehow used to supplement the mining activities that were going on up here. And practically everywhere. I mean, that's why we have these roads. That's why we have these access points into the, Central Colorado Mountains, the basins, the amazing places that we go. So if we go back down for a minute, on the way up through here, the Continental Divide Trail crosses this road in 3 different spots. So for this road, this is what was interesting. Now, right here is one of the couple places where the CDNST crosses this road. So you can see one side, that side, see the markers on the tree. We'll go look at them really quick. This is a short little narrow road, and then we got the other side over there. So what the contention was is that people were commenting, and there you can see the designations of both the Colorado Trail and the Continental Divide Trail. And so the major issue is that people were commenting, on behalf of both of the trails, that this road crosses National Scenic Trails, and so it really needs to be closed because there was user conflict and problems and all kinds of things. But like you can see behind me, look how wide that road is. It's a narrow road. We haven't seen a single other vehicle up here today on anything that we've been doing, other than some vehicles down in the hiking trailheads. So the problem of having people cross a road right here, it's an inflated issue. I mean, it's not like this is I-70 with 4 lanes of traffic and a huge median in between that people are trying to play Frogger and, not get hit by vehicles. There's no reason that we can't all be in an area together because this is really nice to be out here. So, that along with cutthroat habitat down in the bottom down there, this road doesn't cross any creeks. And we're entirely going up the side here into Hoffman Park and not in the bottom down there where the creek is. So those were the 2 strong comments that initially listed this road to be converted to administrative use only. So now you saw exactly what it looks like down there, those 3 spots where the Continental Divide Trail crosses this road. And it's interesting how you say that, because in a lot of the comments that requested that Hoffman Park Road 230.c that we're on be closed is because the road crossed the trail. And while you might think that's something like semantics, it's really not. It's leveraging a viewpoint to try and make, the Forest Service to consider your opinion more so to make the decision. So if you say that the road crosses the trail, you're implying that the trail was there first, the trail is more important, and that the road is actually causing problems because it's crossing the trail. And then if you go on to say that it's causing user conflict and all these other things because the road is crossing the trail, you're devaluing the road. And the reality is the road was here long before there was ever any idea of a national scenic trail system, let alone the actual designation. Because all of these roads are the remnants of mining, everything. And, when I was a kid, I always remember the California Gold Rush, 1849 California Gold Rush, because the San Francisco 49ers football team, that's the name. They're named after the 1849 Gold Rush, the 49ers. And what a lot of people don't realize is the Colorado Gold Rush was only 10 years later, 1859. And that's when, out of Denver and Clear Creek and the initial gold discoveries, and then word spread all over the place and prospectors flocked to Colorado. So everything you see in the backcountry, when you see old cabins like this, you see tailings piles, mining remnants, diggings, places where people prospected, that's what all of that is from. And we are now the beneficiaries of all of that, because the roads that were built, the access points that were built, is what we use to recreate on. That's what we use to drive. So that much of this infrastructure that we use dates back to the late 1800s, or maybe even into the early 1900s. But that's what it's all from. So the correct way to say it is that the now designated National Scenic Trail crosses an old road. And as you saw from down there, there's no problems. It's not a super highway. It's just where two things interact. And this, by the way, is not even close to the only place where any of the National Scenic Trails cross routes, follow highways, cross major highways, cross all kinds of things. So it's not like this is highly unusual. But those were the two things that were leveraged to try and close Hoffman Park. And early on in Pike San Isabel National Forest Travel Management, I was trying to figure out what we were going to do. How were we going to comment? How would we let the Forest Service know things were important? And somebody told me then that if I were you, I would go through and comment on every single road and trail in the entire district to make sure that there was public value assigned to it. And that was pretty challenging. I mean, we're in the Salida District. There's 500 miles of motorized roads and trails in the Salida District. So that's a lot of stuff to comment on. But I went through segment by segment off the emblem, and I commented on Hoffman Park. And I said that this was Big Game Management Unit 56, and that it was important to have access up here to near tree line. We're just slightly below tree line in this basin. And that, just because it didn't go to a hiking trailhead or anything that was deemed as a specific rec access, it was no less important than any of the other routes, because it allowed the public to go in on public lands and to do what they would enjoy doing. So we had a record of comments on Hoffman Park. And then when we got the draft decision converted Hoffman Park, 230.C where we are, to an administrative use only road. So that's not technically a road closure. They're not decommissioning it. They're not obliterating it. They're keeping it in the Forest Service route system. But admin use only means just that. It's not public use. The only people that can use that are administrative purposes. So you and I couldn't drive up here anymore. So Patrick and I appealed a lot of stuff through the appeal process, and Hoffman Park was one of them. And we noted that there were no negative issues that were associated with this route in the travel analysis process scores or the travel analysis reports. It was important to the public. We stated why. We also stated why it's not a big deal that the Continental Divide Trail crosses this road in a couple places, and that this road doesn't directly interact with any type of water source that then would affect the cutthroat habitat that was noted on this down below. And you know what? The response to the objection, the regional forester agreed with us. The regional forester said, I can find no justification for why this decision was made on this route to convert it to an administrative use only. So they directed the forest to go back and either clean that up and find a reason, a justifiable reason. And you'd think that if they had one, they would have used that in the decision. So then in the final decision, it came out that this route and then the one we're going to go visit next were both converted to full-size motorized trails, which for you and I doesn't mean a lot on the ground. Like, we're still going to use this road the same way that I've used it before, and that people in the past had used it before. And if you've never been here, it's not going to look any different when you show up. But that keeps it open to the public. It's not technically classified a road, so there's not the same maintenance standards and issues that can go along with a classification of a road. It's classified as a full-size motorized trail, which implies it has some use for recreation-specific purposes and access for the public, but it's still open. So, that objection was sustained. They directed the forest to go back and relook at this, and then when they did, and they saw our comments and the information, and they went back through it, they made a decision to keep it open. So that's really cool. I mean, that's one of the ones that we feel good about, that we won through that process. Some of you will say we should have never been closed in the first place, and maybe it shouldn't have, but the draft decision was to convert it to admin use, and then through our efforts, it's not closed to the public. It's now open. So that's a good lesson to look at, to come out here on the ground, to look at it, to go back through the process, to see what we did. Where when I was commenting on Hoffman Park 230.C, I had never been up here to the end of this road. My dad and I tried to come up here one time, and there was a tree across the road down below, and we didn't have a saw or anything with us, so we turned around and went back. That's the only time that I ever attempted this road, but I commented on everything just in case something was going to be closed, and in this case, it worked out to our benefit as motorized users, that now it's not closed. Full-size motorized trail. You come up here, you camp at the end, you go out on a picnic. If you were scouting early season animals or hunting, September, archery, black powder, this is an awesome access to get above tree line over here out of the Middle Fork drainage. So we couldn't get out of here without doing a little bit of trail work. There's a couple trees here, but they're just sticking in a little bit. So it's like when you cut these things, see if you can get like an extra foot or so off of that so it's not hanging out there. There's that other one down there, two of them by Sean, and then one over here. So we'll get the chainsaw out, clean this up, and there's that other one right there that's in the road too. So you kind of have to snake through here. It's just easier if you just cut. If you're cutting trees, just cut them all the way out of the road, and then you don't have to worry about it. So there we go. A couple quick cuts with the saw, and now it's easy to just drive straight through here. It's nice and wide. Okay, so it might sound like I was being a little bit hard on Continental Divide Trail and the Colorado Trail back there, and certainly the people that support them are the people that use them, and that's not my intent whatsoever. I'm just trying to show you guys that there are people that try and leverage anything in the name of closing roads. And so when you have them leveraging, two national scenic trails to try and justify why we should close roads, that's not a good thing. And we really need to push back on those types of assertions. We have tons of members, the advisory board members, just core members, people that work with us, myself. We all like hiking on these trails. So again, there's certainly nothing wrong with them, but it's not correct to try and leverage a trail like that everybody enjoys. The majority of people don't have any type of problem with motorized use. In fact, they're probably motorized users themselves, or certainly mixed users in the backcountry, to try and leverage that to get roads closed. Like, that's not okay. And unfortunately, that would have happened on Hoffman Park had we not commented on that and then seen the other comments and read through all of them and then submitted the objection on there. That road likely would be closed that we were just on. So it's just important to remember to look through everything, and we're just trying to provide some backstory and context on how all of this works and how all this fits together. You see my little friends in the back there? On the back, there's my guys. They've been out here all day on this field trip with us. But this is what it's all about. Going out, having a good time with your family, taking your young kids along, just being out. There's no epic water crossings on this trail or obstacles or things up here on the branches of trails, but it's super nice to be out and enjoy a summer day in the backcountry. So now we'll head down to the last little spur trail of the day. We'll go down to the 230B. check that one out really quick before we head out. So we're over here on the second side road. This is 230.B. It's commonly referred to as Cemetary on a lot of the old maps. Because you see, we're stopped here right at the side of an old forgotten cemetery in this drainage. So super cool. This road continues on up. The emblem officially ends a little ways up the hill here, where there's some private property that the road crosses that the Forest Service must not have an easement for. So they stopped the legal route right there at the edge of the private property. But this, if you were going up farther and you were wanting to do more things, maybe you're a hunter, maybe you're scouting for animals. This is Big Game Unit 56, and it goes clear up there in the drainage. You can get above tree line, a bunch of old mining stuff still. I think we saw some goats on the side of the hill up there. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little side trip. It's cool that this one was also converted to a full-size motorized trail. There's kind of a few wide spots, like if you had some vehicle-based camping stuff, maybe a rooftop tent, or you're going to camp right on the side of the road with a tent, this would be a good place for it. Going up farther, there's some wider spots, some rock outcroppings that you could pull off the road for like a picnic. You can see back towards the top of Monarch Pass. You can see Boss Reservoir. It's kind of neat for an outing. So it's nice to still be able to have these, short sections of road where somebody just looking at a map may say, well, it doesn't go anywhere. But honestly, in a lot of cases, it's not the point. It doesn't have to go to a lake or a hiking trailhead or be a through route, or for somebody who doesn't come out and do these things for look at a map and judge why a road is and isn't important because of what it does or doesn't go to. It's about maintaining access so you can come out and you can use the National Forest public lands for how you want and what you enjoy. And if you have a Saturday afternoon, you just want to get out into the mountains and not be around a bunch of traffic and have a picnic, walk around, let your kids play in the woods, like this is a perfect place to do something like that. So it's really important when we go through travel management that there's not forgotten roads, there's not forgotten sections that nobody cares about or slip through the cracks. So we feel really good about Hoffman Park. Up the road there that you saw, 230.C, and then over here on Cemetary, 230.B. So there you are, we're down back at the trailhead airing up. It's a good day. Hope you enjoyed the tour up there off of National Forest Service Road 230 and then 230.B and 230.C. Good day. And thankfully all this stuff is now open, so you can come out here and check it out on your own.